Hi, everybody. Jeff Gayduk here from Leisure Group Travel, and today's travel industry insider with me is Bob Cline from U.S. Tours. Bob, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. So, Bob, I wanted to get together with you on a call today. Obviously, you and I have a history together in the industry, so we don't need to rehash that. But one thing in particular I want to talk about is sort of the recovery of the group travel industry. And I think first and foremost, you were one of the early ones out of this in the spring of this year. We partnered together on Bounce Back Tours. Obviously, this has gone on a lot longer than either of us would have liked.
I thought, 30 days, it would start resolving itself. 60 days, certainly. And we started to see numbers dropping in June. I thought, all right, these bounce backs are going to work and we're going to sell them during the summer like crazy. And it spiked in the summer. So it just got worse.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like this.
No, nobody really has. So tell me, what has worked this year? I know you've had a couple of trips out on the road. So tell me, the groups that you've had out, what have they done? And I guess more importantly, what are they saying when they come back?
In July, we've got a lady who owns one bus down in South Carolina, and she's just bound and determined she's going to run trips. She took 6 people to Greenville, North Carolina, and she came home and said, "We had a blast. What a great trip. Just a one-day trip. She lost money, but she had people out on the road. She's done 6 or 7 one-days since then."
Hey.
Heading out next month to New Orleans and San Antonio. Next week with 13 people. She's still not making money, but her customers love her for taking trips they're getting out of the house. Beyond her, we had a Colorado Railroads trip that in September, West Virginia trip that canceled 3 days before departure. We've not had a lot out. Oklahoma trip for a group out of Virginia. But I mean, it's small time.
Yeah. In comparison, by way of estimation, how many trips would you be juggling this time of year in a normal 2018, 2019?
We're down 300 trips on the year, counting the ones that actually operated in the first quarter. 9% of last year's revenue. It's just an awful scenario.
Well, obviously, all we have to work on and to focus towards is the future. So, as far as that goes, what are you hearing from customers as far as 2021 is concerned?
In 21, we're selling a lot of nice trips or motor coach. They're wanting better hotels, better meals, and better activities. The lady from South Carolina aside, these people are buying 6, 8, and 10-day trips. And they're from customers we have a history with that are successful. They're not the motor coach companies. An awful lot of motor coach companies aren't planning trips, or they don't know what to do. They're not the senior centers. The senior centers are shy, concerned, and watching the market. These are bank clubs, small tour operators that have been successful and will be again. The question is going to be, will that volume reach anywhere near what we had in 2019? Can we bring that back? We're about a third of the way there.
Okay.
2021.
Okay. What factors would have to come into place and when for you to get to 19 levels?
I think there's just one thing: a vaccine. I think that's the only thing that's going to seriously impact us and let us grow large. A vaccine that takes away the fear.
Okay.
We saw that with 9/11. We were afraid of bombers. There were terrorist Muslims all over the place, and they were going to blow things up. And for 3 months, we didn't travel. Fear hurts us worse than anything.
Okay, so we know we're working towards that. Does that in and of itself install confidence in the market? Are some things that people should be putting into play right now to gear up for that?
To me, yes, I think that's the most important thing, is being able to battle this disease. But to me, the continuation of marketing through the entire time is important. The customers can't lose track of you. You must be seen. Your products must be out there, even though no one's buying. You're still present and visible.
Sure. And the successful organizations are doing that, I hope. I'm seeing in newsletters that I receive that sort of communication, whether they're future planning or they might even have a little modicum of some of the day trips in which you're talking about. But I have seen evidence of that. And if you haven't been doing it, I guess now's the time to start, right?
Exactly.
I did a webinar last week with Costa Cruises, who successfully relaunched operations in Europe. I know you did a similar one with Princess for next year. So you're getting a little bit of interest in cruises. Is that probably what Caribbean, or I think U.S. cruises probably, once we get a little bit of a handle on things, should be pretty popular going forward.
Alaska cruises are going to be big next year.
Yeah.
It's always been big. It's still America. It's safer. But our group buyers, our customers, can't resell very easily a cruise ship right now. There are an awful lot of people still concerned because of all the negatives on cruising that happened at the end of March. People stuck on ships for an extra 7 to 10 days. That's remembered. So the cruise ships are working very hard at getting back together, sanitizing their fleet, taking care of their consumers. I think you're going to see a big rebound from the river cruises. American Queen Steamboat Company with the Empress and the Duchess, Countess. That's American ports. It's small ships. There are only 200 or 300 people on these ships. It's not like one of the 2,000, 3,000 passenger ocean liners. Mm-hmm. So, and you're only an hour from a hospital, just about any place when you're on one of those ships.
Yeah.
Yeah. What will happen, I don't know.
Yeah, I hope the North American cruise line market is able to reboot soon. Having gone through the Costa presentation and seeing what they're putting in place, it's a very strong environment. And, they're looking at this saying that, it's an unfortunate incident, but a lot of these protocols we put in place, we think are really going to make the cruising experience better. Maybe some things that people didn't like about cruising before, you're going to like more now because of the way that we're going to handle things on board. And again, they've been successful for a month in Europe, and that's a big cruise line. They're not a small river cruise. So that's given me some optimism for the cruise industry that they'll be able to get that right coming out. But obviously, the big elephant in the room is, as you mentioned, is getting the pandemic under control.
Yeah, got to stop the infections.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what sort of places around the U.S. you think are going to be more popular next year? Are we going to see a return to cities once people feel safe to travel? There likely will be some deals to be had out there, or is it still going to follow into the beaches, mountains, lake type destinations?
I think the cities are going to have a hard time of it. We're selling very strongly the mountains of Colorado and the railroads. Same with West Virginia. Smoky Mountains are hot. I've got 8 more Smoky Mountain trips going out this year. I've only got 10 or 12 trips going out the rest of this year, but 8 of them are in the Smoky Mountains. The perception is it's safer. Small town, it's comfortable. They're not afraid.
What about live entertainment?
Oh, wow. Theaters that are so social distancing people, theaters that are operating at a loss and planning to operate at a loss just to keep, they're not trying to keep the doors open, I guess, trying to keep the interest there for the future. I don't know how long theaters can do that. Some can't, I suppose.
Sure. There'll likely be a
Broadway
bit
just goes better. Everything in New York is shut down, which is an incredible statement to make. Who would have thought?
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't shut down this long after 9/11.
So in regards to New York, they had a lot of sympathy tourism after 9/11. Will you see that rise again, you think? Because they were sort of, you're talking about the cruise ship being, sort of an epicenter. New York was as well, and, very noted some of the issues that they've got going. So do you think that might resonate with passengers to do some sort of a, New York trip coming back?
I don't think they're returning to New York because of sympathy from this. I don't think they perceive New York was hurt any worse than anyone else. They're just larger. Perhaps more dangerous because of the large population. They got more press early on. The governor and the mayor speak very well. So people know there's a lot of virus there. They're going to be shy about New York City for a while. 9/11, yes, there was sympathy, but there was also that morbid curiosity. Let's go see that big hole in the ground where the World Trade Center used to be.
Yeah. Now it's a beautiful building.
I don't know how many times we've sold tours that included some disaster. Katrina tours in New Orleans. Of course, the Oklahoma City Memorial is still there. Everybody wants to see that.
Absolutely, 1993. So, looking at the pathway out here, it's going to be smaller groups, okay? At a point, we're going to have to price for smaller groups, okay, and prove value to customers for that as well, because we all just can't operate as a loss for an indefinite period of time. From a supplier standpoint, do they get the message, that we've got to have tiers in the marketplace and allow wholesalers to do what they do best, which is to package the destination and make it safe and comfortable for people?
Well, prices have to go up. They just do. We can't lose a second year and expect bus companies, theaters, and hotels to still be in business. They're shutting down right now. Somebody somewhere, another hotel, another bus company shutting down today. So in order to stay open with 50% capacity on your bus and on in the theater and in the hotels, you've got to raise prices. It's just a fact.
And ultimately, the consumer decides.
You might find some lower price tickets in hotel rooms in the first and second quarter, but if things are returning to normal in the third and fourth quarter, the prices are going to go up pretty.
Yeah, naturally, absolutely. All right, Bob, I really appreciate your time today. Great insight. Obviously, we've got a long road ahead of us. On a brighter note, I just wanted to finish in saying congratulations on the success of your daughter. I know that she's running for political office. So was it the rearing you gave her in shaping her political roots growing up, or where did that all come from?
I have no idea where that came from. Thank you, though, for your best wishes. Yes. She called and said she was going to run for political office. I just figured city councilwoman, Wheeling, West Virginia. And now she wants to go to Washington as the United States Congresswoman. So she won the primary. In 3 weeks, we'll know. Maybe.
Well, I will look forward to the day where all U.S. tourist trip to Washington, D.C. include a personal visit with the West Virginia congressperson, and she can provide some sort of insider access to your guests coming through. And that's how Washington works, right? You got to get somebody on the inside.
I have to be cautious about the word insider access. I've already been told to quit making jokes about government jobs that I'm going to get, funding projects that she can do for me. She's thin-skinned about that. as she should.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Bob, and best of luck to you as we get into 21.
Thank you, Jeff. Good luck.